Hi guys, I've got a request from BattyBowman to make a windmill from papier mache. So I thought I'd better make a start. This is a bit of chicken wire. Bought it in Poundland a while ago, or at least I call it chicken wire. It's just wire mesh. It was about that long and probably a couple of meters rolled up. I've just cut this section out of it, and what I intend to do is make it into a tube and just pull it in a little bit at the top, so we've got it tapering as it goes up. And I'll wrap the wire around itself to hold it still, and then cover that with papier mache. She wants it to have an internal power supply, so I'll put an electric motor in there and a battery and a switch, and then at the top we'll have a axle going across, or a shaft, probably with rubber band or something going all the way down, with a pulley at the top and a rubber band going down to the motor at the bottom, just so we can power the windmill. Not sure when I'm actually going to do this. You might think I'm talking about doing it now, but this is just because I've been out in my shed, found that, and thought, yeah, that'll do for the job, so I'll bring it in and tell you about it, because I think this project's going to be one of those ones I do on a rainy day when there's nothing else to do. So that's the start. A bit of chicken wire in a tube. Well, I suppose you could call it a conical shape, because it will be narrower at the top than it is at the bottom. Hi guys, table's in a bit of a mess at the moment because I'm doing lots of things at the same time as usual. Charity shop bag, solar panel project over there, electric cars over that way. What I'm going to do at this moment is just give you a quick update on the papier mache windmill for BattyBowman. I showed you the other day that I just pulled this metal mesh chicken wire out of the shed to get started. What I've been looking at, well, last night actually, was what options we've got for powering it. We want an electric motor to drive a shaft or something up the middle here to then turn the blades, or whatever we call them. And by complete coincidence, just looking through the junk file, I found this. That's the remains of a toy train, which works. It's nicely geared down because it's only supposed to go slowly anyway. But what I did notice, if I can get that out again, is on the outside of the wheels it's got gears, which I expect are supposed to link up to the track that it's supposed to go on. But those gears, the teeth on them, just happen to be the right mesh. If I can hold it together. For these gears, well, that on-off switch doesn't seem to work, but that's not a big issue. Yeah, for these gears that came in this box, Meccano box, that cost me, well, I can't remember now, that hasn't got the price on it. I think it's something like 50p or £1.50, something like that, because it's not a complete kit. It's just odd bits and pieces. And that's some Connects stuff that I got from a different charity shop purchase. So it's just random bits that I've got together. But as I say, that gear works on there. I've got another one. I've got some ordinary pinion gears, I think we could call them. So I think I've got enough bits and pieces there that we can have this at the top somewhere, something like that. Then a shaft going right up the middle, and then another one, another gear at the bottom being driven by this toy. Because it's only going to be turning the sails, aren't they? Paddles, sails, blades. Slowly, that's all I want it to do. So that's what my plan is. I'm going to use this somehow or other mounted at the bottom. I'm going to have to modify the on-off switch because that thing's no good. So I'll probably put an external battery on it that we can have a separate switch on. And then just have that turning the sails. And then eventually get round to covering this in Papier Mache, which was the original request. A Papier Mache windmill. So that's update number 2. Hi guys, this is part 3 of my Papier Mache windmill for BattyBowman. I am aware that you may not be able to see this very clearly at the moment because it's still just the chicken wire. Haven't filled it in yet, but what we've got here is these random bits of Meccano and the electric toy train providing the power. This won't be the final sail, but it is a windmill that I picked up in Poundland a few years ago, I think. It's a little bit loose on there at the moment. So we can just temporarily jam it in place. Right. I've got a bit of plastic tubing there, soft plastic tubing linking the shaft down there to the shaft up there. It's all rocking about a bit. Whoop. But that is just what I wanted. Very slow turn. Nothing screwed in place, you know, this is all, as you can see, rocking around. I hadn't intended to use that as the final thing, but actually that doesn't look too bad. Yeah, well, quite a bit more work to do, but at least you can see what's going on. Move a bit of stuff out of the way of the background and you might be able to see it a bit clearer. In fact, take it off there. Right, if it doesn't fall over, the battery. With the battery there. So all I've done is soldered a couple of bits of wire onto the old battery contacts on the train so that I can actually control it from outside. So that's the top end. We've got a crown gear and a pinion gear linking together, and down at the bottom end we've got that crown gear is sitting on the teeth that are on the edge of the train wheel, which I think are originally there to grip whatever train track it was connected to. I like that. That's just so so awful. It's beautiful. And then so a bit of flexible plastic tubing. That's probably silicone tubing, which allows me to have it completely out of a line, completely out of alignment, and still work. Right. Well, we'll have to make up some papier mache now. I've just hot glued the metalwork there that I've got for the top gear and the shaft. I've just hot glued it in place to stop it rocking around while we put the paper over it. That bit of wood there is a children's jigsaw puzzle that's lost all its bits, so that will be the base eventually, and I will eventually hot glue the motor to the base. But what I'm going to do in this episode is just get the paper started, or the papier mache started on the tower. So I've got a plastic bowl, I've got some wallpaper paste, I've got some newspaper, so I'll mix up some wallpaper paste in the bowl and then tear this into strips, soak it, and then apply it. I've actually warmed the water just to make it more pleasant to use. You don't particularly need warm water for doing wallpaper paste. I've got a litre of water in there. This is supposed to be for 12 pints when it's full. I've obviously used some in the past. This will be far more than I need. Actually looks a bit thicker than I need it to be. I think I might have actually done enough. I was planning to make sort of 2 layers of it, but I think that might do. Said I had far too much paste. Hi guys, just a very quick update on this Papier Mache Wind Mill for BattyBowman. I really can't do very much to it today because I'm going to have to wait at least another day for this to dry out because it's still damp. But I'll just put a battery on it to check that the electrics still work and that I haven't gummed up the gearing. So, looks like it still works. I'm going to have to leave that for at least another day, probably 2 days before that's dry enough to paint. And then I'll have to put a top on it, a swell of some sort, and finish off the bottom. So that'll do for now. First coat of undercoat or white paint on the windmill. Quite surprised, the paper had dried out. We've had a good sunny day today, so in the conservatory it gets quite warm. So we're probably a day ahead of how quick I expect it to be. That's B&Q base coat. So that'll do. Give it a second coat. Just checking, nothing's jammed up with the paint. We'll leave that there for now. Okay, go and wash my brush off. That'll probably do. Still need to put a roof on it or a cap. Next update. We've painted the windmill, just white paint at the moment. I've now hot glued it to this baseboard, and I found the battery box out of an old electric toy car which can take up to 3 batteries, and it's got an on-off switch. That bit of wire is just shorting out the 2 empty battery positions at the moment. Oh, I have to loosen off the shaft a little bit where I've been painting it. Yeah, it's jamming at the moment. Anyway, so I just thought I'd show that. That's a nice little battery box. I've routed the wires so they come out the top now, so that I can just sit that in there, and then I'll put a little roof over it and paint up the bottom a bit to give us some sort of rural effect. Some doors and some windows going up. Just folded up a random piece of cardboard to make the roof, I suppose we could call it. So I should paint that up, just to sit up there. That means we can just lift it off and get to the on-off switch. I love the noise this makes. If you've ever sat and listened to a windmill, there's always so much noise going on inside. So that's the train at the bottom and all the gearing and that. I'm just going to cut a little circle out of this pizza tray to use as the, what do we describe it? It's the joining piece at the top of the windmill, where normally the top of the windmill could turn round to match the wind direction. So it's only got to be about 1/4 of an inch wide, just to give the impression of where the join would be. The windmill's actually outside at the moment because I've been using a bit of spray paint on it, which smells, so I've done it outdoors. Right, that's what I want. Go and see if it fits. That's the general idea, just a ring around there. So in theory the top section would turn round to match the wind direction. So I'll glue that in place. I might actually change the colour of the top section a bit to match. Playing with the felt tip pens, giving it a bit of detail. I think I'm going to colour this a bit in this area. Might even spray paint it. Well, I think that's about as far as I want to go with it. So there we go. A papier mache windmill with an internal electric motor made from a old electric toy train, geared well down, so we've got really slow paddles, or what do you call them, sails, turning when I switch it on. I'm actually very pleased with the effect, because I wanted it to be as slow as possible. That's just using a single AA battery. The battery box that I've used, I could increase that to 2 AA's or even 3 AA's to make it go faster, but I don't want it to. I want it to be really slow. Because I've set it up outdoors here, I have found out that if I loosen off the connector on the front of that sail, the wind blows it even faster. But we wanted an internal electric motor, so that's what we've got. So job done.
Hey, thanks for watching. There's plenty of videos on my main channel with more added daily, so don't forget to subscribe and enable the notifications to keep you up to date with my new releases. My second channel, Grandad's Other Channel, is where I put the longer videos with more detail. Then there's my Facebook page, and you can follow me on Twitter. You can help keep my channel running by donating $1 on Patreon to buy me coffee. And if you fancy some Grandad merchandise, I have 2 shops, one on Redbubble and the other on Cotton Cart. Finally, you can always find more information in the video description. Thanks again for watching.